The 786th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our free bracket challenge. $2,000 winner take all. Enter today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket.
Howdy ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 786 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Who am I going to dedicate it to? Once again,
Gumby's out of the.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll give one to. Let's dedicate this episode to Ryan Cafaro. Not only cashed as a plus 135 underdog for us last week on the regional scene, but also then shouted us out on YouTube and said, "Hey, good job picking that Cafaro guy."
There we go. Yes, so this goes out to Ryan Cafaro. Very good. I'm Jeff Pussy Fox. He is Daniel Gumby Breland. You didn't laugh that time. Good. You're getting.
Look, I did. I snorted a little bit. I think I got ready for it this time. Is the problem?
Right. We're not talking college basketball. I know 'tis the season. We're going to be talking about UFC Fight Night. Edwards versus Brady. Today is the main card and all our fancy dancy plays. So we'll be discussing Edwards versus Brady. Yesterday was almost a team ride on the prelims. One fight, a very close fight that we fell on different sides on, but all the other six we were all in unison with our picks. So check out yesterday's episode if you have not already. And today, like I said, is all about the six main card fights and the fancy dancy plays. Very good main card, very good prelims. We already went through all of that yesterday. So, solid fight card all around. The UFC can still pull out solid fight cards when they're motivated to actually sell tickets and stuff. So, which is good to see. All right. You still have time. You probably have time when you hear this, but you can compete against SGPN this March in our $75,000 winner take all college basketball survivor contest. March has never been this exciting. Enter at splashsports.com/SGPN. That's splashsports.com/SGPN. Plus use promo code finals for a $10 bonus credit. So all you people who watched and or listen to our shows, the second it drops, then you can still get in. So, all right, let's get right over to the O2 Arena in London, England for the main card. ESPN Plus, 4 p.m. start time. And we're kicking things off with the featherweight bout, Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charrière. Tell you about Wood first. He is the prospect, even though he's in his early 30s now. He still considers himself a prospect. 20-6, 8 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice. 8-3 in the UFC, 4-1 over his last 5. He did win his last fight. Used to fight at 135. Former Cage Warriors champion. That's pretty much everyone on this card is or was. 2013 pro MMA debut. More active landing strikes than Charrière. He's has a positive strike differential of 1.75 strikes per minute in the UFC. He's at plus 140. Charrière is the last pirate. 20-10-1, 12 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been submitted once. 2-1 in the UFC, 5-1 over his last 6. Won his last fight via TKO. He's a Cage Warriors champion, former regional champion. Used to fight at 155. 2014 pro MMA debut. 2 inches of height, 2 years younger than Wood. Better striking stats, better grappling stats. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 0.13 strikes per minute. He's at minus 150. This was a tough one for me to pick. I came on the side of the pirate, Charrière. I went with the chalk here. He is slightly better at everything. He should be. I know he's only 2 inches taller, but you would expect him to be much bigger. He used to fight at 20 pounds heavier than Wood did, even though Wood has looked good since he moved up to featherweight as well. But I think I'm going with less.
He should be, what is it, 5-0 at featherweight?
Yeah.
If you don't count the goofy loss he has to Mohammed Naimov, where Naimov held onto the cage 42 times and didn't get any points taken.
So you're going Wood?
I'm going Nathaniel Wood. I believe in him at featherweight. I really do. I think he's looked exceptional there. And you mentioned, Charrière is coming from, being much bigger than him. That's true. And I think it's the speed of Wood that plays up for me here.
Sure.
And he sort of made a smart decision in fighting where he was before down at bantamweight. He could get his wrestling going, but sort of wasn't fast enough for any of those guys down there. Now he moves up a weight class. His speed is caught up and his wrestling has continued to play up. His wrestling keeps looking good. I mean, his last fight was with Daniel Pineda, who is, an exceptional wrestler and an exceptional counter wrestler. And, Pineda got 1 takedown in all of his efforts and not really much else to show from that. And if you look at his other featherweight fights, he's scoring takedowns consistently when he wants them. and he's, able to shrug them off when he doesn't want them and he wants it to be on the feet. So I like his ability to dictate where this fight goes. I also think the cardio might be better. We're again talking about a guy in Charrière who's fought up at 55. We're talking about him at 35. And granted, he's bulked up a little bit, but I think where his weight just rests, I think he's going to be able to push a pace that's going to be a little bit harder for Charrière to keep up with. So, yeah, I like Nathaniel Wood in this one.
Yeah, it is, like I said, a toss-up for me, so I could see it going the other way. I thought you have you come around to Wood? I was thinking you weren't into Wood.
I think I was against him in the Naimov fight, which wound up being right, but like right in a bad way.
Yeah.
I'm starting to come around to him at 45. Also, do you remember Morgan Charrier's original nickname? Not his real original nickname. I mean original to this show.
Oh, yes. He is the French Solomon Renfrew.
Yes, he's the French Solomon Renfrew.
The return of the French Solomon Renfrew. There's our title. I remember. Woo-hoo.
Thank God he's back.
Yes, thank God. Should be a good fight, or it should hopefully teach us about both fighters going forward in this featherweight weight class. All right, let's go to lightweights now. Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan, the other Chris Duncan, the one that Gumby has on the show, Top Turtle this week. He is the problem. 12-2, 7 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. 3-1 in the UFC, 5-1 over his last 6. He won via submission in his last fight. He went 1-1 on Contender Series. Should I ask you, Gumby, who did he fight and who did he beat and who did he lose to?
He lost to Slava Claus. And he beat Charlie the Cannibal Campbell, if I'm not mistaken.
There you go. Yeah, that sounds right to me. So good job.
The Campbell one's the one where he got the win back from the jaws of defeat. Like he had gotten stunned and was wobbling, and Campbell just came forward recklessly, and he hit him with one counter and slapped him. Yeah,
that's Cannibals for you. I remember that now. Regional champ, used to fight at 170, twice more active than Vucenic, but Vucenic has fought one time. Better grappling stats than Vucenic, but that's probably not going to hold up. He has a positive strike differential of 0.7 strikes per minute. He's at plus 310. The epidemic versus the problem. 13-3, 2 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's never been finished in a fight. 0-1 in the UFC, 4-1 over his last 5. He did lose his last fight. I think I was short notice, was it not?
Short notice, and it was a really good effort up a weight class, right? Yeah. Well, I think he stayed at that weight class, though. No, did he not? Because he used to fight at 40.
That's right. You stayed at featherweight. Yep, you're right. Yeah, he stayed at.
So he's staying there. So it's up a weight class, but like so is this. And that one was against Guram Kutazaladze, which I thought was a back and forth fight that you could have given to him.
Yep. He was a Cage Warriors champion. He's fed at 145, as we said, 2 inches of reach over Duncan, 3 years younger. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 0.27 strikes per minute. He has the most tattoos in the UFC, for sure. I don't think anyone can.
We got Sean Brady on later.
It's true, but Vucenic is creeping up on his face now too. That's the thing. But I don't think Brady has gone there yet. But plus 310. No, sorry, minus 395 for Vucenic.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Vucenic. I like Chris Duncan. I keep thinking he's being underrated. But you sort of mentioned like he's got the better grappling stats, but I don't actually fancy him the better grappler here.
No.
Vucenic is so dynamic on the mat, and like he looked it against Kutazaladze, who we talked about on the last episode, is like pretty damn good at wrestling when it comes down to it. So when you put him in there with a guy who's gave up a couple of takedowns to Manuel Torres, who I don't think of as a wrestler, like is he going to be able to survive that situation with Vucenic? And I don't know. The answer to me is probably no. And even in his last fight, right, he gave down takedowns to Błachowicz, and he wound up grabbing a submission in one of those positions because Oki is not as well versed on the mat. What's it going to look like when he gets taken down with a guy who is more well versed on the feet? And like, I would love to see them be able to stand and trade because I think it's probably a very even fight and probably even you can tip the advantage to Chris Duncan there. But I think Vucenic is smart enough to bring it to the ground. And Duncan's been clipped a few times too. That's something to keep an eye out for potentially in this fight. Because Vucenic, despite being a guy who we think of as a grappler, does hit pretty darn hard. So who knows? But yeah, I'm gonna go with Vucenic here.
Yeah, as am I. Vucenic just so good in the ground, and as he said, looked really good in his debut, despite being short notice. A different weight class than what he previously fought at, and his debut as well against a tough opponent. So Vucenic is the pick. All right, before we get to the next fight, I'm going to tell you about some lovely sponsors of ours. DraftKings, when it comes to college basketball and March Mania, one thing is for sure, nothing's for sure. Upsets, buzzer beaters, Cinderella's advancing, top seeds going home early. It's all going to happen. Bet the unexpected every upset every day with DraftKings Sportsbook. With live betting, exclusive content, promos, and parlays, DraftKings is the ultimate college basketball destination for March. First time, here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly, so you can make all those prop plays in Kalski while you still can, because Utah will not be making the playoffs. Bet the unexpected with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SGP. Let's go to SGP for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets only when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. All right, professional.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
All right, Rhythm threw an epic March Madness party last night. You were invited, so hopefully you went with us and the SGPN, with Rhythm and the SGPN crew. But even if you missed that party, they are still giving away $250 future bet for a Rhythm user. So check out Rhythm, check out the contest, and most importantly, check out their stats from last season's March Madness. With UConn winning, their percentage of winners was 39% higher than ESPN brackets as a whole. Rhythm at 34% of brackets, ESPN at 24.7% of brackets. Rhythm predicted Duquesne, NC State, and Oakland upsets. 45% of Rhythm brackets had NC State reaching the Sweet 16. So if you want a chance at the $250 future bet, sign up at Rhythm, and you want more details, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party. And our party is rolling on to a female fight, women's strawweight bout. Molly McCann versus Alexia Thainara. Let's break her down, shall we? Meatball Molly is 14-7, 6 knockouts, 1 submission. She's been submitted 3 times, 7-6 in the UFC, 1-3 over her last 4. She did lose her last fight. Used to fight at 125. Was the Cage Warriors champion, also a regional champion. It's missed weight before at 125, but now she's down at strawweight. 2015 Pro MMA debut. Has outstruck her opponents in the UFC by 0.67 strikes per minute. She's at plus 160. Thainara, her name is Bourgeoisie, I think it would, but it's got Ina, so it means little.
Little bourgeoisie. Yeah.
Little bourgeoisie. 11-1, 1 knockout, 6 submissions. She's been submitted once. This is her short notice debut in the UFC. 1-0 contender series, multiple regional championships on her.
Mantle.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Try Madness. That's your code for 20% off. Use fed at 125 and 135. 5 inches reach over McCann, 5 years younger, better striking stats, better, more active landing strikes, and better grappling stats based off of 1 fight. In that fight, she outstruck her opponent by 3.66 strikes per minute. She's at minus 180. I'm going against my short notice debut stats, and I'm going with Thainara here. She was taking down with ease a wrestling champion, or is she Olympic wrestler, Rose Constanciao, or at least a world level wrestler?
I don't know where she fits on the wrestling scheme of things, but like she's a good wrestler.
Yes,
you gotta give her that.
And Meatball Molly, that's basically her kryptonite. So I think Thainara can take her down and win the fight on the ground, probably via decision.
And how good did she look on the feet too? Like
Yeah,
she had this vicious approach where she was throwing like 700 strikes every couple of seconds. Like she went toe to toe and just brawled with her at the end. And yeah, like to your point, I think people remember the brawling and the funness of that fight, but don't remember that like she came up this like grappling phenom, that was submitting people back and forth. So yeah, I love Vucenic. I think she's a real prospect in this division, and it feels kind of wild that they gave her Molly McCann in London, because it usually feels like they're giving Molly McCann people they think she could beat in London. And I don't know if the matchmakers just screwed up on this one, or if they're ready to bring Molly McCann to pasture. But like, I just think, man, it's a wild one to me, because Vucenic seems like every bit the prospect.
They probably were scrambling to keep her on the card. It was originally Estella Nunes.
Oh, that's a much better fight for
her.
There you go.
And then until a week ago. So I'm sure they wanted to keep McCann, because McCann's a draw, especially in England. So they probably want to keep her on the card. And they're serving her up a young, hungry fighter who's probably going to send her into retirement, or at least fake retirement. So
no, I don't think she'll retire. She's not that old, is she?
No, she's not. But I think she's talked about it before already. I think she has mentioned it. She was going to retire after she lost in London last time, apparently. So,
but that was Aaron Blanchfield, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shame in that loss. All right, we got welterweights. Gunnar Nelson. Yep, he still fights in the UFC versus Kevin Holland.
Every couple of
welterweight fight. It's been a long time.
Every couple of years he fights.
Exactly.
In the UFC. Yeah.
Kevin Holland. Gumby loves Kevin Holland at welterweight. So let's tell you about him first. He's trailblazer. 26-13 with 1 no contest. 14 knockouts, 8 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted 4 times. 13-10 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight and won 1 of his last 5. Both of his past 2 losses have come via finish. He used to fight at 185. He's got multiple region championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Try Madness as your code. 1-0 in Contender Series, 1-0 in Bellator. He's missed weight before at 170. 2015 Pro MMA debut, 2-1 in Pro Kickboxing. He's got 4 inches height, 9 inches reach over Nelson. 4 years younger. He's twice more active landing strikes than Nelson is. He's outstruck his opponents by 1 strike per minute in the UFC and the Contender Series. He's at plus 110. Gunny is 19-5-1, 4 knockouts, 13 submissions. He's been knocked out 1 time, 10-5 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight. Before that, he lost 2 straight. Won his last fight via submission. That was back in March of 2023. He's not lost since September 2019. 2007 Pro MMA debut. He's a BJJ champion. He has better grappling stats than Holland. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 1.16 strikes per minute, and he's at minus 125.
Yeah, Gunnar Nelson for me. Yeah.
Yep.
And I do like, I know you're hating on Kevin Holland and my takes on Kevin Holland there, but like I do like him a lot better at 70. I hate him up at 85. I think that's the dumbest.
Okay, that was it. I was thinking it was the other way around. Okay,
no, there's no reason for him to go up. I mean, like he's a fast striker who can hold his own at 170 in terms of his speed. Why would you go to 85 where, the speed's going to continue to play up, but also then like you're not strong enough to defend a takedown from him? And, that's the problem in this fight with me is that, first of all, Gunny is already a very crafty striker. I think people forget how good his karate is. This is a guy who comes from a background of like really good, like a point fighting style karate. And that's good enough to stay away from the danger of Kevin Holland. And if Kevin Holland gets overzealous and he gets in on those legs, like Kevin Holland is already looked like a fish out of water grappling a lot of these guys. And now he's going to grapple maybe one of the best pure jiu-jitsu specialists at 170 now, right? Like in terms of just jiu-jitsu, like if we boil it, you take the wrestling out of the game, take, judo out of the game, take all that, and you just talk about jiu-jitsu, might be Gunnar Nelson. It's really sharp. It's great. He looks for subs at a good rate. He doesn't give up positions. He's airtight. Like that's Kevin Holland's nightmare. So yeah, of course I like Gunnar Nelson here.
Yeah, I'm going with him as well. Obviously there's a bit of pause because he's been off so long, but that kind of is what he does now.
He was doing that in the beginning too. Yeah. Like we wanted a Gunnar Nelson run and you'd be like, where's he been?
Yeah. So I'm taking him as well. If Holland fought smart and kept it on the feet, I think he could win this fight. But as you said, Nelson is a tough guy to figure out on the feet as well. But Holland doesn't fight smart, and once he's down, he's pretty much down. So Nelson is my pick as well for this fight. All right, we're to our co-main event already. One of our 2 former UFC champs on the card, Jan Błachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg in a light heavyweight bout. The former champ Błachowicz is 29-10-1, 9 knockouts, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice. He's 12-7-1 in the UFC. He is the former champion, as I mentioned. 1-2-1 over his last 4. He did lose his last fight. That's back in July of 2023. He's not won since May of 2022. He used to be the KSW champion. He made his debut back in 2007. He's a Muay Thai world champion, a grappling champion, an inch reach over Ulberg. He's outstruck his opponents by half a strike per minute in the UFC. He's at plus 240. Ulberg is Black Jag, 11-1, 7 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, 7-1 in the UFC. He's won 7 straight after losing his UFC debut in March of 2021. 1-0 in Contender Series. He's fought at heavyweight. 2011 Pro MMA debut. 19-2 in Pro Kickboxing. 1-0 in Pro Boxing. 2 inches of height over Błachowicz. 7 years younger. Twice more active landing strikes. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 2.93 strikes per minute. Minus 225. Give me Ulberg here. You can't trust Błachowicz. I keep changing how I'm saying his name. You can't really trust him at this point. He's 42, I believe, now. Hasn't fought forever. He's been injured nonstop too. And not that Ulberg is that much younger. He's 7 years younger. He's not like a young up and coming prospect, but light heavyweight, that doesn't matter. He's just going to be better than him on the feet. Assuming he can keep this on the feet. I'm assuming
that's the big assumption. And I'm going Jan Błachowicz for exactly that reason.
Go ahead.
Do you remember another not young kickboxer?
Yes, I do.
Who
a middleweight
who fought Jan Błachowicz and thought, as long as this is on the feet, I shall surely beat him. And then
from the same part of the world as Ulberg as well.
Maybe the same gym, and then was promptly taken down a vicious amount of times and lost that fight. And also, like, the other thing too about Ulberg is, and I know he's looked really crafty in his last couple of fights, and I know the narrative would be a lot more fun if he won here, because throwing Błachowicz back into a title fight with Magomed Ankalaev is certainly not something the UFC seems jazzed up to do. But this is also a guy who lost a split decision to Alex Pereira, and had a split draw to the current champ. Like his losses have come to champs, and he's beaten up everybody else. And the other thing is Blackjack gets tagged. He gets hit sometimes. He's not one of those kickboxers who's like really careful. He's one of those guys who uses his power and isn't afraid to get hit a little bit. You can't do that with Jan Błachowicz. Say what you want about him being 42 years old. Say what you want about anything else, but like the dude hits like a truck still at his age. And I think that's a real problem here for Ulberg. Like, I wouldn't be surprised with a knockout from Błachowicz, and I wouldn't be surprised with him grinding out a 15-minute decision. So at nearly, what did you say I was getting him at? Plus
240.
Yeah, at plus 240, definitely worth a roll.
You don't know if he hits hard because you haven't seen him, unless you've been hanging out at his gym. No one has seen him, so you're assuming.
Enkos MMA.
Enkos, right? You're assuming he's keeping it together, but we shall see. So there you go. We differed on a pick there. Gumby went underdog, and I'm going to tell you about underdogs now. Underdog fantasy. It's time for Gumby's bonus underdog pick 'em play for you. Underdog pick 'em. You can play any sport and win up to 100 times your money. I always want to give away more. Gumby, what kind of play do you got for the people?
Let me ask you a question. If I told you I liked higher than significant strikes on a Gunnar Nelson projection, what do you think the projection is? The number of significant strikes Gunnar Nelson will land this weekend?
It's probably like 39.5 or something.
It's 18.5.
Oh, I thought I was way too low to begin with.
18.5. So I'm going to take the higher than on Gunnar Nelson's significant strikes. That dude is going to land 19 strikes. Give me the higher than Gunnar Nelson's significant strikes.
I guess your only concern is he taps him out right away.
Yeah, so if he taps him too quick.
Which could happen. But yeah, all right. Sign up with the code MMASGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. And SGPN is partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, racetrack, or casino. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. And you know your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. Best part is no credit checks and it's completely free. Sign up for Edge Boost and enter a free $2,000 bracket contest. You better hurry, though, depending on when you're consuming this. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BRACKET. I guess it depends on me posting this in the morning. You got me posting it also. We'll do our best. All right, main event time. We'll see if we differ here as well. This is I
kind of feel like we're gonna.
You think so? Do you? All right. What's we bout between another former champ. The former champ would be Leon Edwards. He's up against Sean Brady. 5-minute rounds. Let's tell you about the former champ first. Edwards, Rocky, is 22-4 with 1 no contest, 7 knockouts, 3 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 14-3 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He is the former champion. He lost in his last fight to Bilal Muhammad. Before that, he had won 4 straight. He is regional champion, or was. He used to fight at 185. 2011 pro MMA debut. 4 inches height, 2 inches reach over Brady. He has outstruck his opponents by 0.31 strikes per minute in the UFC. He's at plus 145. Brady, 17-1, 3 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 7-1 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight. He has not lost since October 2022. Regional champ, used to fight at 155. 2014 pro MMA debut. A year younger than Edwards. Better striking stats and more active landing strikes than Edwards. Better grappling stats than Edwards. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 0.91 strikes per minute. He's at minus 155. All right, surprise me, Gumby.
I'm gonna go with Sean Brady.
Me too. We're on the same page.
I kind of thought you were gonna go Leon Edwards.
I was worried you were gonna take Edwards. I'm like, oh no.
I'll be honest. I really thought about it. And
Yeah.
that's coming from a Sean Brady fan here. So maybe this is the thing you want to listen to, fans out there. Like, I am unabashedly a huge Sean Brady fan. I love watching him fight. Like, his style is a lot of fun to me. I know it's not fun to everybody, but it's a lot of fun to me. And I thought about taking Leon Edwards because I'm just wondering, like, what happens if he doesn't hit these takedowns? What happens if Leon Edwards, and granted, he's not been in a camp for a guy with takedowns. He's been in the camp for a kickboxer.
Yeah.
But like, what if he stuffs these takedowns? What if we can't see Sean Brady replicate what Bilal did? But ultimately, like, we've seen a little bit of letdown from champs when they lose their title. And then, to get a opponent change last second, and it's not, pay-per-view anymore, and, all those kinds of things. And yeah, it's like a big hometown crowd, and it's a London card that he gets the headline. I just do think that, like, Brady can do enough of what Bilal did. Not striking, but enough pressuring and enough scaring him with the grappling that maybe shuts down his striking. And that's really what his biggest problem was against Bilal, is that, like, he was so back on his heels that he just couldn't get going. So I'm going to take Sean Brady. I'm going to really tentatively take Sean Brady, though, because I think very easily this could look like a one-sided beatdown the other way if the wrestling game doesn't go his way.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Edwards has pretty solid takedown defense. I'm still taking Brady though here. He at least stat wise, he's even better on the feet from distance than Edwards. Edwards has way more power.
That's just not true. But like,
Edwards has way more power. I would obviously, if this was a strictly kickboxing fight, I'm going to take Edwards in it. But when you mix in the grappling, which Brady's one of those just relentless guys too. That's just going to grind on him.
Yeah. We haven't really seen him do it for 5 rounds. I mean, did he do it for 5 rounds with Gilbert Burns? He might have done it with 5 rounds with Gilbert Burns. But is that like the same animal?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is the same animal. Maybe I'm talking myself into liking this pick more.
There you go. And it is, you rarely see fighters make it back up the mountain once they have been unseated as champs.
Except for Jan Błachowicz.
Yeah, it's true. We'll see about that. Not that, like, their age, they're pretty much the same age. Brady's only a year younger, but Brady is on the rise still, and you got to think Edwards is on the
His only loss is the champ. His only loss is I think people forget that. He looked kind of bad in that.
I forgot that.
People were like, oh, that loss to Bilal Muhammad looks terrible, especially because Bilal TKO'd him. But, like, in retrospect, like, Bilal kind of tooled on Leon Edwards. So, like, what does that even really tell us?
I even said a few weeks ago to you, are we still in on Sean Brady? And you were like, yeah. I'm like, oh. And then, when I reminded myself, I'm like, oh yeah, it was Bilal Muhammad. That is aged pretty well. So, all right, we both like Brady here. Let's recap and we'll give you our bonus plays here. We both got Brady. He's got Błachowicz because he thinks a 42-year-old is going to climb back up the mountain, right? That would be, for karma-wise, UFC karma-wise, that would be funny if he won and he got another title shot against Ankalaev. That would be great.
They're definitely doing the rematch if that happens.
Yeah, for sure. I have Ulberg. We both have Nelson. We both have Thainara. We both have Vucenic. He has Wood. I have Charrière. All right. Locks, dogs, props, fancy plays, all that stuff. I think I know your whole okay, good
today. Do you want me to tell you your picks first and then
sure.
Your lock is Gunnar Nelson.
Correct. See, I didn't even know it until a minute ago. Yep, you're correct about that. Yeah, what's your lock?
My lock is going to be Alexia Thainara.
All right, I was thinking about her.
Yeah.
But, all right,
and
Thainara.
then we're gonna match in underdogs. We're gonna take Marcin Tybura.
No, I'm taking Tumar. I was gonna take Tybura, but no, I took Tumar. Yeah. Okay. You can hear why on yesterday's show.
I've lost touch.
That's all right. It's just one. If you can get, you might be able to get this if you read my article I posted today.
I did. Are you gonna take Gunnar Nelson by submission?
No.
Oh, that's what I'm gonna take.
Sean Brady via decision.
Okay. What's that at?
Plus 175. I figure he's going to win, and that's how he's going to win. He's not. Edwards has never been finished, and I don't see Brady finishing him. I just think he's going to drag him down and grind him out for 25 minutes.
I'm going to take that Gunnar Nelson sub. That's going to be my move.
How much is that?
What do you think Gunnar Nelson subs at?
It should be negative, but it probably isn't negative. Plus 200.
plus 225.
Even better.
Yeah,
Nice.
love that price on Gunnar Nelson by
that's
sub.
great.
If he's going to win, that's how he's going to win. And he's a massive favorite.
Exactly. All right. Thainara, Nelson, locks. Tybura, Tumar, dogs. Nelson via sub, Brady via decision. I think we're all in on each other's picks as well. So, all right. Hungry Man Jog, super fan. What? Parlay.
Just parlay today.
Parlay.
I wanted to go round robin. Couldn't find enough lines that I liked. And there are two really big lines that I particularly like. So the first one I'm going to take, I hinted at it last show. I'm going to take Marcin Tybura by sub. Marcin Tybura's got an excellent arm triangle. We have not seen Mick Parkin taken to the ground by a guy who can actually grapple and submit people ever.
Yeah.
And so like the first time he has to do it is going to be against the guy who's pretty damn good. The sub line for Marcin Tybura right now is 7-1, which I think is pretty crazy. And then I'm going to pair that with Vucenic's submission line. We've seen, Molly McCann kind of suffer losses via submission and kind of look like a fish out of water in the grappling. And as I said, I think people forget that despite her Contender Series performance, Vucenic, that is where she is her best. And she's got, I want to say 7 submissions in her 11 wins in her career. And she's been off at 425 to win by sub. So if you pair Marcin Tybura's and Alexia Thainara's submission lines, you're going to get 41-1.
Nice, 41-1. And Rose Conceição was a Brazilian national champion of wrestling. I looked it up.
Yeah,
so yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. McCann is not a wrestling champion anywhere. So not even
definitely
that
not, definitely not in Brazil.
No, definitely not. All right, 44-1. We like it. All right, you're all set now for a very, very good fight night. Watch it with us. We'll be in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. You can comment on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe first. That's the one rule. MMA Gambling Podcast. You can hit us up on Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer. You can follow me on Instagram, same handle. Go to my Substack, win my pick'em contest this week because we told you who's going to win all the fights. So that would be moneymma.substack.com. Listen to Gumby talk to people from this here fight card on Top Turtle. Tell the people who you're speaking with.
Chris Duncan, who we talked about earlier on this episode, and Marcin Tybura.
There you go. So check that out, Top Turtle. And of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Try Madness for your code, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon for bonus content. And of course, if you're going to sign up for Underdog Fantasy, this good time of year to do it. If you're a college basketball fan, and they have UFC every week as well. Make sure you use our code MMASGPN. Now, Gummy's going to bid you farewell until we have another run of regional episodes.
All right, I'm David Gumby Vreeland. He's the Trailblazer, Jeff Fox, and we will see you on Sunday.